Welcome to New Possibilities. I speak truth to power without fear. So yesterday I watched LA's Hangout with Willie D from the Geto Boys. It's a great hangout. I encourage you all to watch it. I will include a link in the description box so that you can watch the video for yourself. But for this video right here, I want to talk about some of the issues that were raised during their discussion. That discussion inspired me to do this video. Now, Willie D has recently received attention because he has done videos calling out coons, and he has a song where he's calling out coons. And I don't have any problem with that. In fact, I support that. Calling out the traitors amongst us is something that needs to be done. And you know that I have a track record on this channel and on my I Declare War channel doing such, calling out these coons, condemning them for their treachery and for being traitors in our community, and they should be condemned. So I don't have a problem with that. In fact, I support it. The problem that I have is the hypocrisy. If you're going to call out these other coons, then you should call out the coons in hip-hop. And when I talk about coons, I'm talking about those people who perpetuate negative stereotypes of black people. Not only that, these people perpetuate the destruction of the black community. How do they perpetuate the destruction of the community? By promoting violence in the community, by promoting drug abuse in the community, by promoting drug dealing in the community, by promoting misogyny in the community. Those things are very destructive. And not only are they promoting these things, they project a negative image of black people, a dangerous image of black people. The image of the black man as a thug, as a gangster, as someone who's going to commit a crime, someone who is violent and dangerous. And all that does is feed into this negative stereotype of the black man. And that negative stereotyping makes it easy for these police to kill us. It makes it easy for jurors to find these police not guilty when they kill black people because of the programming that takes place. Because there is programming that teaches black people in this society that black people are dangerous, that black people are criminals. So the criminal justice system responds accordingly. It reinforces the negative views that they already have of black people. And some people will say, well, hip hop doesn't have an influence on people. It's just music, it's just entertainment. It's the parents' job to raise the children. And I understand that to a degree, but I'll say this. When you already have a toxic environment that is ripe for crime, adding a negative message to that environment only helps to increase the crime, only helps to increase the violence, only helps to further the problems in our community, undermining the family in the black community. When you have a message that promotes being a pimp and a player, that doesn't build families. That kind of message undermines families. That kind of message promotes the single parent household syndrome that exists in our community. That's what it does. If hip hop didn't have an influence on people, if entertainers did not have an influence on people, why do you think corporations go to these entertainers, go to these hip hop artists and ask them to promote their products? Because they know that these hip hop artists have influence. They know that if the people see the hip hop artist wearing something or doing something, they know that it's going to influence young people to follow suit. They know that young people will buy what the hip hop artists do, buy. They will dress the way the hip hop artists dress. They will speak the way the hip hop artists speak, because they follow these artists, because they are trendsetters. And if the artists are able to move these products and set these trends in terms of fashion, then they obviously have other influence as well, negative influence as well. I mean, they popularize a lot of the things that we see young people wearing, like tattoos. There was a time when People didn't wear tattoos like that in the black community. But because these hip hop artists have made that popular and cool, you see young people wearing tattoos everywhere, tattoos on their face and tattoos all over their body because they see these hip hop artists doing it. You see these people sagging their pants, exposing their whole behind in underwear because they see these hip hop artists doing it. So you can't tell me that they don't have an influence on our young people. When they have these songs encouraging people to use all kinds of drugs, songs like about Percocet, songs about drinking codeine, songs about consuming all kinds of pills like Xannies and ecstasy and all this and that. You can't tell me that that doesn't influence our young people, doesn't encourage them to use and experiment with drugs. You can't tell me that that's not the case. I mean, back when I was growing up, the most that you would hear these rap artists singing about using is weed and alcohol, but today it's off the charts. And not only are they encouraging people to engage in this kind of violence, like they glorify violence with guns. You know, they have guns in all these videos, in some of these videos, they're talking about how many ways they can shoot and kill people. That obviously has an impact on our people. Not only does it promote negative stereotypes outside of the black community, but it actually teaches our people that that's what it means to be a black man, to be a thug or a gangster and all that kind of stuff. And there are vulnerable, impressionable people that follow that example because they see their hip hop artists doing it. And I'm not going to say that it's all hip hop's fault. You know, of course there are social economic issues that cause crime. But this message that promotes violence, that promotes drug abuse, that promotes drug dealing doesn't help the situation. And another aspect that this hip hop promotes is this whole gay agenda. I mean, this whole effeminization of the black man. That's something that should be called out. I mean, you got guys with beads in their hair like women. You have guys walking around in dresses. You have guys walking around with purses. Guys walking around with tight, fruity colors. You know, tight jeans like women. I mean, back when I was a kid, only women wore tight jeans. But today you got young men walking around with skin-tight jeans, sagging, dressing like women, walking around with handbags, purses, and dresses. And you know, just the other day I saw this video with, I think it was Young Thug and this little Yachty or whatever kissing, you know, where this guy is kissing this guy on his neck. This is what they're promoting out here. And you can't tell me that this doesn't influence the people. They're promoting misogyny, where they disrespect the women, calling them all kinds of bitches and hoes, treating them like prostitutes and them behaving like prostitutes. They're promoting this whole thought culture in our community. And you want to say that this has no influence. If you can call out those other coons, you need to call out the coons in hip hop and take some accountability for the negative message that even you promoted. Willie D. I mean, you should take some kind of accountability. You know, the misogyny promotes the colorism. I mean, that's an issue that needs to be addressed, where you have these rap artists talking about how they don't like black women, and when they do like black women, they're talking about how they have a preference for lighter black women, thereby promoting a lot of negativity in our community. Promoting this colorism, promoting the myth and lie of white supremacy and black inferiority. So the bottom line is this, man. I just think that Willie D needs to use his voice to call out the negative influences in hip-hop music. He has to do it. I mean, hip-hop has an influence on the people. I remember when I was growing up, hip-hop had many dimensions to it. You had your conscious hip-hop, you had your fun-loving hip-hop, and you had your NWAs and all that kind of stuff. So there was variety, but today the negativity is overwhelming in the art form. And that can't be denied. I mean, back then, you had rappers talking about black consciousness. You know, you had X-Clan, you had Public Enemy, you had all these groups that inspired people to want to learn more about their history, inspired people to want to find out who Malcolm X is, or want to find out who Joanne Chesimard is. That's what the hip-hop did back then. But today, instead of shouting out the greats in our history, you know, the people who fought for our liberation, you have these rap artists glorifying people like Larry Hoover and Big Meech and all this other stuff. You know, these gangsters shouting out their names. When I was growing up, they were shouting out Malcolm X. They were shouting out Huey P. They were shouting out Assata Shakur and Farrakhan and stuff like that, inspiring people to want to learn about themselves. You know, they took away the gold chains and they were wearing the African medallions, teaching people to have pride in themselves and in their culture. But today, that's not what they're doing. They're teaching black men to be violent. They're teaching black men to be weak. They're teaching black men to be effeminate. They're teaching black women to be skanks and harlots and all that kind of stuff. They're promoting the destruction of our community. And if you're going to call out these coons, you have to call out the coons in the hip-hop industry. I mean, back in the days, way back in, you know, way back in the day, people protested against Birth of a Nation, a movie that depicted the Klan as heroes, because they understood the influence and the power of media. But today, you know, instead of condemning these negative messages, we are promoting it by buying it, by playing it. And I'm not going to pretend like I'm completely innocent. I'm to blame for this as well. So those are some of my thoughts. Tell me what you think. Please rate, comment, and subscribe. Peace.